And now it's time to choose sides. That's the focus of tonight's angle.
The plants are starting to construction already. We have many plants. Indiana, massive auto plant, the Honda, and we have so many plants, and they'll be under construction. And as they start to build, you're going to see a lot of construction jobs, and you're going to see a lot of jobs when they open.
So where was AOC? Where was Bernie? Where was Chuck? Where was Hakeem yesterday in the Rose Garden? Well, a lot of hard hats were there, right? The working people who make stuff with their hands. You know, those Democrats like to sell themselves as the champions of those hard hat people, the working people, the underdogs, the little guys.
We need a Democratic Party that fights harder for us with the courage to brawl for the working class.
We need great candidates here to stand up for the working class. Let's stand together.
All right, the media echo this. They serve kind of as co-managers of the Democrat working class brand. Although they have billionaires like Soros and Reid Hoffman, David Geffen filling their coffers, Democrats claim that Trump's the one who doesn't care about regular Americans.
Republicans right now are a party that's really just about the wealthiest, the oligarchs, so to speak, in this country, about Elon Musk and Donald Trump.
Donald Trump doesn't care about those people. He never has, never will.
Okay, this is just absurd on its face. Trump's first-term economic record pre-COVID, where real median household incomes saw their biggest gains in decades, that gave the forgotten men and women not only money in their pockets, it gave them hope again. And if Trump's an oligarch, why after 4 long years of sleepy, creepy Joe did Americans making under $50,000 without college degrees go MAGA? Why did that happen? And fast forward to yesterday, Liberation Day. Who's happiest today about Trump's reciprocal tariffs? Well, obviously not Wall Street, not those who raked in big money offshoring jobs. In fact, they're busy trying to scare you into turning on Trump. The sky is falling. The sky is definitely falling.
New fears of an American and maybe global recession. This is one of the biggest down days since COVID.
What makes this one different is that it's not a market event. Secondarily, it is. It's really an event that impacts the real economy, Main Street.
Nothing is safe. There is really nowhere to hide because retail is generally an important sector.
Ignore the noise. Take a breath. Remember what Trump said about the tariff doomsdayers on Wednesday?
Never forget, every prediction our opponents made about trade for the last 30 years has been proven totally wrong. They were wrong about NAFTA. They were wrong about China. They were wrong about the Trans-Pacific Partnership. In my first term, they said tariffs would crash the economy. Instead, we built the greatest economy in the history of the world.
No one has been more consistent over the years, over the decades, in calling out the globalists' grandiose promises than Donald Trump.
I'd make our allies pay their fair share. We're a debtor nation. Something's going to happen over the next number of years with this country, because you can't keep going on losing $200 billion, and yet we let Japan come in and dump everything right into our markets and everything. It's not free trade. If you ever go to Japan right now and try to sell something, forget about it, Oprah. Just forget about it. It's almost impossible. They don't have laws against it. They just make it impossible. They come over here, they sell their cars, their VCRs, they knock the hell out of our companies. The poorest person in Kuwait, they live like kings. And yet they're not paying. We make it possible for them to sell their oil. Why aren't they paying us 25% of what they're making? It's a joke.
Consistency. Look, we had, what, 40 years of the globalist policies? And we ended up with an America where, yes, a middle-class couple can buy a lot of, like, $8.99 T-shirts for their kids at Target, but a home of their own in a decent neighborhood? It's becoming out of reach. The globalists in the D.C. Uniparty were fine with keeping that dynamic in place, the middle class constantly struggling to make ends meet. But Trump understood how damaging and ultimately how dangerous that is for the country. So, of course, those happiest about Trump's new trade rules are the men and women who get up every day and build more than portfolios.
From where we are in Pennsylvania to Wisconsin to Michigan, when the auto worker was there and said, you know, I have seen over my lifetime every factory, every plant, every mill closed down. It was complete music to our ears out here because we live in this wasteland. At some point, somebody needs to speak up for us. And this is why we voted for Donald Trump. Full stop.
Now, it wasn't Trump's goal, but he exposed the fake populists yesterday. Again, Hakeem Jeffries, Jayapal, Rashida Tlaib, AOC, Bernie, if they truly cared about the people who've been left behind, they would have stood in solidarity with Donald Trump, even if they don't agree with him on a lot of other issues. But they would have stood for trade policies that give our workers a fighting chance. Instead, they actually chose to stand with China and every other country that steals from us. Instead, they chose to stand with that same big Democrat donors who love outsourcing our jobs, who love setting up factories abroad. And instead, those fake populists chose to ignore the plight of small towns across America where shuttered factories left behind a trail of drug addiction and despair. America wasn't founded on free trade, contrary to what you've heard even from some senators today. We were founded on the idea of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And it's pretty hard to find happiness or even pursue happiness when you're working 2, maybe 3 jobs and still can't get ahead. So do we want that America, or do we want an America where we take pride in having a thriving middle class? Trump is betting it all on the latter. And we're going to keep tabs on those who peddle lies and half-truths in a desperate effort to prop up the failed global trade order. And that's the angle.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.